Looking for a fresh development team with new ideas, Lara and Eidos joined forces with the 11-year-old Crystal Dynamics in 2003. The San Francisco-based studio was responsible for, among other things, their own epic PS1 action saga, The Legacy of Kain. After finally releasing his long-awaited action-adventure Galleon and receiving a timid response, Lara's creator Toby Gard expressed an interest in joining Lara on her next quest. He eventually contributed to her cosmetic redesign, directed the cinematics, and co-wrote the story.
Hey! It's her!
Tomb Raider Legend was released in April of 2006 for the PC, PS2, Xbox, and the 5-month-old Xbox 360. Later that year, it would be joined by ports for the PlayStation Portable and the Nintendo DS, Game Boy Advance, and GameCube. The game's revamped leading lady got a new voice from film and television actress Keely Hawes.
I'm a terribly lucky girl. And here come the bloody tourists to spoil it.
And a new score from composer Troels Folman. Finally, model Karima Abi was officially revealed to be Legend's promotional pinup on February 14th, her birthday, as well as the birthday of Lara Croft herself. Despite a few nods to the prior games and feature films, Legend took the story of Lara back to Chapter 1. The game's opening revealed Lara's mother, Amelia, had vanished in a temple the two discovered after their plane crashed in the Himalayas. As an adult, Lara discovered the temple housed a fragment of the legendary Excalibur, King Arthur's blade. Retrieving the other pieces put her up against the wealthy adventurer James Rutland and Lara's old friend Amanda Everett, who was presumed dead after being lost in a tomb in Peru. Lara's crusade took her to a record 7 locations: Bolivia, Peru, Tokyo, Ghana, Kazakhstan, England, and Nepal. For the first time in 7 years, Croft Manor once again served as an explorable training ground, with its own secrets and hidden items. The grappling hook, briefly featured in Tomb Raider Chronicles, was now utilized in traversal, combat, and puzzle solving. Grenades could now be tossed by hand, targets could be jumped off of or kicked under, and certain spots in the environment could be shot to take out a group of enemies. Lara got back on her bike, gunning a Ducati through 2 different stages, and Crystal Dynamics snuck in some QuickTime events to boost the game's cinematic quality. Everything about Legend was quicker than any other Tomb Raider, including the 4 to 7 hour playtime. Turning, jumping, hanging, and swinging with Lara was much more comfortable and intuitive. She could shimmy at double speed and rotate blocks easily instead of having to switch sides. She also blew up her wardrobe budget with a ton of outfits to unlock. Fans and critics were both excited about Tomb Raider 7. Collectively, it sold around 4.5 million copies. For the first time, it seemed the story of one game was going to carry directly into another, as Lara concluded Legend by discovering her mother might still be alive and running off to find her. The story was expected to continue in the next game, but after the reboot came the remake. That year, 2006, was the 10th anniversary of the original Tomb Raider, and drawing up this new, third-generation Lara Croft, part of the team at Crystal Dynamics expressed the desire to do an update on the original PS1 classic, and Eidos approved. It would use the Legend engine and keep the same composer and the same Lara, albeit one a few years younger. Tomb Raider Anniversary shipped in June of 2007. The Xbox 360 version came out 4 months later and was the first full retail game available for download on the Xbox Live Marketplace. It told the same story as before, with Natla and her stooges Larson and Pierre fighting Lara for possession of all 3 pieces of the Atlantean Scion. Familiar areas were retouched or completely remastered, and QuickTime events stood in for certain moments players remembered actually playing before. The grappling hook made the packing list with new puzzles to accommodate its use. Since her controls were almost identical to Legend, except for a couple of new abilities, Lara was infinitely more agile than she had been 10 years prior. Anniversary reviewed as well as Legend had. Some reviews stated it was one of the rare remakes that surpassed the original. It only sold 1.5 million copies, making it the least successful game in the series, but fans gleefully accepted the homage and the return to seeing a new title from the franchise on a yearly basis. When it came time to continue the new story from Legend, Crystal Dynamics created a brand new game engine. Colin O'Malley signed on to compose the new score, taking themes from the work of the 2 previous games. They also hired the 8th and final Lara double, bringing in gymnast Alison Carroll. She was the last woman Eidos would seek out to portray Lara Croft in the real world. Tomb Raider Underworld surfaced in November of 2008. It documented the search for Mjolnir, the hammer belonging to Thor, the Norse god of thunder. In the race to find it, Lara was reunited with old rivals Amanda Everett and Jacqueline Natla, and came face to face with her very own doppelganger who destroyed Croft Manor. While Legend was designed for the PS2 but brought up to the standards of the next generation, Underworld was designed from the get-go to take advantage of all Crystal Dynamics had learned about the Xbox 360. Each area reacted more naturally when destroyed or exposed to weather. Lara, along with a cosmetic upgrade, was given new ways to subtly interact with her surroundings. She also stripped away her blue and khaki uniform for a brown top with black shorts. Tomb Raider Underworld has sold more than 2.5 million copies. It arrived on the PlayStation 3 in 2009 and was included in a package that brought Legend and Anniversary to the PS3 in 2011 called the Tomb Raider Trilogy. Underworld also received a port on the N-Gage and Nintendo DS, and the Nintendo Wii version included features specific to the console's Wii Remote tech. For the first time since 1999, a Tomb Raider game had extra downloadable levels, 2 short episodes called Beneath the Ashes and Lara's Shadow. Underworld was the end of a trilogy. It launched with Tomb Raider Legend and began chronologically with Anniversary. At this turning point, Crystal Dynamics decided to create not only a new story, but a new series. Just like the film series about a certain doctor of archaeology that served as her earliest inspiration, Lara's next project was self-titled. Similar to Curse of the Sword, it was entirely isometric, but unlike any Tomb Raider game ever made, it could be played cooperatively. Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light launched exclusively on Xbox Live Arcade in August of 2010. It reached the PC and PlayStation Network 4 weeks later and iOS devices in December. The adventure began after Lara discovered the Mirror of Smoke, which contained the imprisoned spirit of Zolot, the Keeper of Darkness. Lara was ambushed by mercenaries who released the trapped god, and Lara was warned by the immortal Guardian of Light, Totek, that the two had until dawn to stop him. Players could attempt this solo, or team up with Totek and a friend. Crystal Dynamics included several elements that fans would find familiar, including Lara's voice by Keeley Hawes, previously composed music from Troels Folman and Colin O'Malley, and environmental elements recycled from their recent games. Guardian was Keeley's last performance as Lara Croft, making her contribution the longest of any one voice actress.
When I'm gone, this place will be lost again. But for how long?
Toe Tech was voiced by Jim Cummings, an industry legend who most know as Dr. Robotnik, Winnie the Pooh, and Darkwing Duck.
Zolot must be imprisoned within the mirror and return to this place before the light of dawn.
Working in tandem between Lara's grappling hook and Toe Tech's spears, the pair watched each other's backs through 14 levels. Almost everyone agreed Guardian of Light was a genre gamble that paid off. The twitch combat, open platforming, and co-op puzzle solving was all a perfect fit for Tomb Raider. The game received 5 downloadable content packs and sold over 100,000 copies in the first few months. Underworld was 9th in the line of main console release Tomb Raider games. Guardian of Light was considered in its own series, but the smaller experimental team at Crystal Dynamics soon switched to the main series after its release. What exactly the studio had in store for Tomb Raider 10 was something of a mystery. At E3 in 2012, Square Enix, which purchased Eidos in 2009, presented an even more daring retelling of Lara's life. It was simply called Tomb Raider. In its harrowing tale of survival, Lara Croft was voiced by Camilla Luddington. The rest of the cast were new faces in a new story. Lara has been known to take a sabbatical or two from the land of console action-adventure, but she's never really left our hearts. In 1999, she joined with Top Cow for a comic book series that ran until 2005. She sauntered into the mobile phone market in 2003, starring in Osiris Codex, Quest for the Cinnabar, Elixir of Life, and Puzzle Paradox. GameTap helped animate Lara for their show Revisioned in 2007 and cast Minnie Driver to give her interpretation of what the dashing Miss Croft should sound like.
Thank you, gentlemen. I've long fancied the Scarlet Scarab. Cheers.
Well, you have my total attention now. I'm not quite sure if I've got yours, though.
5 women have now supplied the voice of gaming's most experienced archaeologist. Shelley Blonde introduced us to Lara's confidence and wit in the first game.
Back again.
And you? For a grand reopening, I assume.
And Judith Gibbons delivered a more mature, refined performance in Tomb Raider 2 and 3.
Don't you think you've seen enough?
Jonelle Elliott gave Lara a bit more attitude for her next 3 games.
What do you want? Advice? A decent coat? Deodorant?
And Keely Hawes had arguably the most seductive tone of them all.
Isn't that what it's all about? Why we dig up the past? To understand it?
Eidos casting worked twice as hard over the years, picking women to stand in front of a photo lens along with a microphone. Excluding Angelina Jolie's first 2 film portrayals, 8 women brought Toby Gard's originally outlandish concept to life, almost 1 per main game. The lovely ladies include, in chronological order, Natalie Cook, Rona Mitra, Nell McAndrew, Laura Weller, Lucy Clarkson, Jill DeJong, Karima Adbeeb, and Allison Carroll. So, who is Lara Croft? 16 different women have given us their answer to that question across 14 games, 2 motion pictures, and countless appearances in other media. Her impossible figure may have paid the bills, but the series has endured because Lara's indomitable will is intoxicating. Her beauty and bravado helped women get noticed when games needed something more adult than a bandicoot, plumber, or hedgehog. She paved the way for more women warriors like Joanna Dark, Rain, and Bayonetta, and she's still going strong. Before too long, Lara's franchise will be as old as Lara herself. When future generations look back at early primitive video game technology, Tomb Raider will stand out as a pioneer in bridging the gap between the action-adventure film and the action-adventure game. It's been slow to adapt, but each of Lara's adventures was always full of surprises. As Lara writes her latest legend, she faces a new generation of thrill-seekers. Perhaps it'll be love at first sight all over again. See this and other GT shows and game reviews on the GT Originals iOS app, available now on the App Store.